Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry, episode 4. So last time we finished up Amaria's beef with her mom. The words they said to each other, it was just insane, man. But yes, we're here in the dungeon right now and let us see what happens today. However, when or even with just a little light, one could at least make out that it probably wasn't a storage room. After all, that room was sealed off with iron bars.
ここはどこなの?
But yeah, I think this is the first time for us seeing this dungeons, right? We haven't seen this yet.
わからん。
Wait, even Kraus doesn't know this?
ここは屋敷の地下なのか。食堂の真下にこんな部屋があったのか。
They had dropped into what appeared to be a pit falling into this room. Therefore, it was natural to assume that this room was directly under the dining hall. However, not even Kraus could bring himself to believe that there were pitfalls rigged in his beloved dining hall where he had enjoyed his meals for years. But yeah, Gaap was the one who did this, right? And then Gaap is good, I guess, for teleporting. See, grants the power of teleportation as the mage requested. So this might not be totally underneath the dining hall, but yes, in a part of an island, I guess. Maybe underneath the house, the mansion. And that this dungeon-like room lay directly beneath it. But the ceiling above was a crude stone craftsmanship, and they couldn't understand how they could have fallen from somewhere up there. No, all 5 people who had been dropped here thought the same thing. So the people here, I guess, is Shannon, Canon, Kyrie, Kraus, and who's the other one? Nanjo? Nanjo survived, yes. Although they had the sensation of falling into a pit, there was no way there could be pitfalls in the dining hall, nor could this dungeon-like place be directly under it. But the truth was that they actually had fallen into this place and were locked in. So they were confused.
あの高さから落ちて誰も怪我をしなかったのは幸運かもしれませんな。シャノン、カノン、君たちはこんな部屋の存在は知っていたかね。
いいえ、僕たちもこのような部屋のことは存じかねます。本当に？
本当です。本当にこの部屋知りません。
Despite their age, Kiri apparently wouldn't have found it odd if they, as servants allowed to wear the one-winged eagle, might know of the mansion's secret tricks. But then again, when last episode, on the 3rd episode, I mean, when Ava was looking for the gold bars, right? It went underground as well, right? And then there was a hidden room. There was a long silence as if Kraus was evaluating their answers.
いや、シャノンたちが知らないのは事実だろう。
So I wonder though, how many hidden areas can we find in this game? Like this is the second one. Like in the other ones in the future. That is gonna be interesting.
何しろ綺麗好きのシャノンだ。彼女がこの部屋を知っていたならもっとピカピカに磨き上げているだろう。この部屋の汚さが君たちがこの部屋を知らないことの証だ。
And it looks like people hasn't been here for a while.
今はそんなことよりこれからどうするかの方が先決だと思わんかね。その通りです。警察にいえそれから救急にも早く電話をしなければ。
Nanja's words were hollow. Obviously, 6 people had been killed in the dining hall. Everybody had seen the exact moment when they'd been killed. And since half of their heads had been destroyed, Anyone could tell that the deaths had been instant with just a single glance. Everyone understood that first aid no longer held any meaning. True.
ありがとう、南條先生。私たちは伴侶がもう生きてはいないことを理解できてる。気休めでも救急と言い添えてくれてありがとう。
夏希。
Once again, a gloomy silence dominated the atmosphere. Yeah, both of them lost their partners, Natsuki and then Rudolph. But Kraus shook his head harshly over and over for the time being. Decided to forget the pain of losing his wife and to dedicate himself to figuring out where they were.
みんな聞きたまえ。親父はもうダメだ。口で言って理解や説明が求められる段階にもうない。
Nobody answered. Without any kind of discussion or mercy, 6 people had been killed in an instant. And Kinzo had even been so bold as to proclaim that we'd become sacrifices for a ceremony involving 13 murders. But yeah, the way Kinzo did it, right? He just said like, we need 6 people and then have fun. It's not like you do one and then he stops for a bit, then he talks to the people. No, he just continued, right? Like 1, and then the second one, and then the third one, and then the fourth one. It was insane. Imagine if you were in that situation, you couldn't think anymore. Like, even if after the first one, you would just have frozen there. Like, what? What is happening? Since we've been locked up in a place like this, we too will probably become the ceremony's next sacrifices soon. Around this time, our eyes became used to the darkness, and bit by bit, we were able to understand more about the dungeon's interior. What we thought was furniture haphazardly left in the dungeon turned out not to be furniture at all. There were things like small cages to lock people in, restraints, or else torture racks. But at any rate, it was obvious that it was eerier than a mere jail cell. Since the objects were rusted together and coated in thick dust, there was no doubt that they had been forgotten. Maybe you could even call these things Kinzo's sealed and forgotten madness. However, we had been locked away in this room. These objects weren't exactly comforting to people who were locked up, hoping to be released without harm.
とにかくここを抜け出そう。私たちは伴侶や友人を失い、涙を流すことに時間を費やしたいが、今はそれ以上に子供たちの身が心配だ。
お子様方はご無事でしょうか。
祈るしかない。そういえば熊沢さんと郷田さんはここにはいないな。
ひょっとすると無事に逃げ延びられたのかも。
かもしれませんな。子供たちと合流しててくれれば心強いのですが。
郷田さんはいざという時頼りになるし、熊沢さんは経験豊富で落ち着いてるし、きっと力になってくれると思います。
そうだといいがな。
Shannon and Krause smiled bitterly a little, but they quickly realized how improper Dad was and stopped clearing their throats.
楽観はできないよ、姉さん。僕らに続いて、もう襲われてしまってる可能性だってある。
同感ね。お父様が食堂で執行したのは魔女の碑文の第1の番の6人殺しなんでしょ？ なら第2の番は寄り添いし2人を引き裂け。逃げ隠れて寄り添っている郷田さんと熊沢さんがもう殺されている可能性だって否定できないわ。
But yeah, I wonder though, who's gonna be in the second Twilight? So for the survivors, you can say because yeah, both of them are servants. You could say maybe Goda and Kumasawa, right? Maybe because they're servants. And then Shannon and then Kanon, because yes, even though they're not like really siblings, right? You can say that they're connected even a little bit. Because yeah, they're very close to each other. But other than that, yes, there's no one really. You can say Kraus and Jessica, father and daughter. Kyrie and butler, stepmother, and then stepson. But yeah, I guess it's gonna be one of those people for the second Twilight. But I think maybe it's gonna be these two. Maybe. Biggest ones. Probably. But we'll find out.
きっとゲストハウスに合流してて子供たちを守ってくれているなんて楽観。現時点では全くできないわよ。
Kyrie coldly analyzed the worst case scenario. For her, it was heartbreaking to have lost her beloved husband. But right now, the most important thing was protecting that husband's son, along with the other children from becoming the insane family heads as sacrifices. But yeah, remember when Rudolph and Kyrie were fighting for their lives in the third episode? Here, yeah, they didn't even had a chance to fight. But I wish Rudolph survived, and we could have seen what maybe he could have done, right? In this situation, that they know that they're actually in really big trouble because people started dying right in front of them. In the second one, or in the third one, I mean, it was like they were waiting to see what's gonna happen right when they went back to the mansion. They were really not expecting these Chester sisters or the stakes to show up. But this time, yes, Kyrie is here. She survived and now knows what kind of enemies they're facing. So it would have been nice to see what kind of plan they would have made, at least both of them. But with Kyrie here, maybe she can think of something, right? Rather than just them dying for no reason. She overcame her sadness with the parental urge to protect children from sorrow. It seemed that both Kyrie and Kraus were strong enough to forget about their grief, if only for the time being. But yeah, in this situation, now is not the time to grieve, as yeah, you don't know when the enemy is gonna come. So grieve after you escape, if you can escape. They would let their tears flow later. In order to protect the children, they had to act.
とにかくここを脱出しよう。相当古い牢屋のようだ。なんとか鉄格子を破れないだろうか。室内をくまなく探して脱出手段を探してみよう。
ここにはガラクタがいろいろあるわ。何か役に立ちそうな道具とか落ちてないかしら。武器になるものがあるかもしれないし、鉄格子を破れるものがあるかもしれない。
Kyrie pulled a lighter from her pocket. She herself didn't smoke, but she kept one tucked away in her pocket to light Rudolph's cigarettes. It was an extremely valuable source of light for searching in this dim dungeon.
シャノンはキリエさんを手伝い、室内を探索してくれ。カノンは私と一緒に鉄格子の具合を確かめてみよう。これだけ古い牢屋だ。ひょっとするとガタが来ているかもしれない。
私は何をお手伝いしましょうかな。
体力を温存していてください。やがてここに親父殿が現れるだろう。親父殿に言葉が届くのは南條先生だけです。ある意味、南條先生に我々の命は握られているかもしれない。
私の言葉などもう届きはせんでしょう。申し訳ないが、そのお役には立てそうにない。
なら 南條先生のお医者としての知識を貸してください。人間を即座に混沌させるような毒って存在するのかしら？
人間を即座に混沌させる毒？どういうことですか？
私たちは落とし穴に落とされて、この地下牢に落ちてきたと信じている。あの混乱している場で、私たちはそうだったろうと信じたわ。でも、この地下牢の広さを測ってみて分かった。この地下牢があの食堂の地下というのはありえないことなのよ。
どうしてありえないってわかるんですか？
姉さんはバカだな。この地下牢は食堂に比べて狭すぎる。
その通り。1番目に落とされたのはクラウス兄さん。2番目が私。クラウス兄さんはこの部屋に落ちてきた時、その場を動いたかしら？
お恥ずかしながら落下の痛みでうめいていたよ。そのすぐ傍らに桐江さんがすぐに落ちてきたんだ。
食堂でのクラウス兄さんと私の立ち位置と、落下時の落下場所の距離が明らかにおかしいのよ。
確かに言われてみればその通りです。その次に落ちたのは私だから、お二人の位置関係はよく覚えている。食堂でのお二人の間の距離はこの部屋よりもあったかもしれない。
私たちは落とし穴に落ちてダイレクトにここに落下したわ。
But I do wonder though, right? If, like it's saying in reality, without magic, do they actually have this, for example, in the dining hall? Like there's like trap doors there, trap floors.
集合する下水道管みたいに一度集められてからここに落ちたわけじゃない。落下は一瞬だったでしょ？そんな凝った排水管みたいな穴を転がされた覚えはないわ。
確かに落とし穴では説明がつかんな。おかしな話だ。
それと、桐江様のおっしゃる人間を即座に混沌させる毒というのはどう関係があるんですか？
A drug that makes people instantly faint. And then you could say like they were transferred here, right? I mean, you could say that. Like instant, let's say smoke or whatever they could inhale.
桐江様は多分食堂に落とし穴なんかなかったと。
しかし現に私たちは落ちたぞ。
落とし穴に落ちたような気がするが正解よ。
More accurately, we felt as though we fell into pits. I mean, you could say that if someone like suddenly knocks you out, you could say that you're falling, right? And then, yes, you could say that.
無理もないわ。
You could say that you were really falling down and yeah, the darkness is closing in suddenly. Then you close your eyes and then you faint, basically.
そうとしか例えられない体験だったから。
なるほど。つまりこうおっしゃいたいわけですな。私たちは落とし穴に落とされたのではなく、例えば毒矢のようなもので撃たれ瞬時に意識を失い、その倒れて床に突っ伏す瞬間の記憶をまるで落とし穴に落ちたよと思い込んでしまっているのかもしれないと。
なるほど。食堂に無数の落とし穴が仕掛けられていて、我々がそれに何十年も気づかず食事をしていたとするよりは、よほど説得力のある話だ。
I mean, that's a much better explanation, I guess. I mean, if you've been walking there for decades eating at the dining hall, I think you would have noticed if it was, like, yeah, it has a false bottom, right? Like, you would have noticed, like, if it's a little bit maybe hollow, because yes, you can drop there. So this is, I guess, much more better. All of them got shot by a blow dart, for example. Or yeah, they fell asleep at the same time or one by one and then they got transferred here. You could argue that.
姉さん、時計はある？
Okay, where's Meta World Butler now? Is he not gonna talk? He's not gonna talk about this?
懐中時計があるわよ。22時40分くらいね。
僕の時計もそうなってる。つまり僕たちは食堂での大騒ぎから十数分も時間を経過させてないってことになる。
私の時計も同様だ。我々が混沌させられてどこかへ担ぎ込まれたと仮定するには時間の経過が短すぎる。時間だけを見るならやはり我々は食堂の真下へ落とし穴で落とされたと考えるのが妥当だ。
時計の針なんていくらでもいじれるわ。私たちが気絶している間に全員の時計を巻き戻したのかもしれない。その可能性がなかったことは証明不能よ。
落とし穴にせよ混沌させる毒にせよ、私たちは用心するに越したことはないというわけですな。
それで南條先生、混沌させる毒は存在するんですか？
それは桐江さんの論法と同じですな。私の知らない未知の毒物にそういう効用のものがないとは証明できません。
用心に越したことはないということね。ごめんなさい。無駄な質問だったわ。ただ、私の仮説により、この地下牢が食堂の真下とは限らないという可能性は示唆できたと思う。
なるほど。広大な森の中のどこかに隠されていると噂される親父殿の隠し屋敷の地下牢に運び込まれている可能性もあるということか。
You could argue that they were brought to Goadorian. Maybe.
ここを脱出して外へ出ればそれもわかる。それを詮索するのはここから出てからでもいいだろうな。
I'm not really sure, but whenever Beatrice and Butler, the meta ones, right, were doing like close room investigations, I'm not sure if when Beatrice was saying like there are no hidden rooms, was she talking about in, for example, when Jessica died, right, in, was it the second episode, and they were doing that investigation there? She said that there were no hidden rooms. I'm not sure if it's the whole mansion or if it's just this single room right here, right? Like the Jessica's room. There's no hidden room in Jessica's room. She said it in red. So you can argue that maybe this area or this dungeon is in Goadorian, right? Or maybe just like how where Ava found the gold. Maybe just in a different area. There's like an entrance that you can go into. Maybe.
その通りね。本当にごめんなさい。さっきから無駄な質問と詮索ばかりだわ。
いや、とても頼もしいよ。今後も何かに気づいたら教えてくれたまえ。ここを脱出する何かのヒントになるかもしれない。ルドルフからいつも聞かされていたよ。
Rudolph was always talking about you.
君の発想にはいつも驚かされ、時には重要なヒントにもなるとね。君がここにいてくれたのは不幸中の幸いだ。
I mean, Kyrie is very smart though. Like you can see here, even the description says it here. Serves as Rudolph's right hand in several shady pieces of business, guiding them to success. Show, yeah, quick thinking and deeply trusted. But yeah, she is very, very smart. Even earlier in this episode, right? She was the one who was doing or giving conditions to Kraus, right? With the money, the inheritance, all this stuff. She was the one talking there. So Kyrie is really good.
ありがとう。 私もルドルフさんに聞いてるわ。クラウス兄さんは普段は威張っているけれど、いざという時は責任感にあふれる頼りがいのある兄だって。
But yeah, I guess though. Yes, he tried to attack Kinzo when it started, right? He went after Kinzo, even though, yeah, you can see how scared he was. He still went there, but he got caught. It sounded like he ran away.
それにしても頑丈な鉄格子だ。カノンの方はどうかね。
いいえ、こちらも全く。
Kraus and Kanon tried wiggling the bars in various ways, but I do appreciate how they're making Kraus now, like his character. I mean, they're expanding it. It's nice. Like you could argue, you could say that yes, he's weak when you compare him to like Kinzo, obviously, and then when you compare it to Ava, yeah, you could say that he's weak as a I don't know the word, but he's weak. But when it comes to responsibility, like just yes, what we saw when they were having chaos in the dining hall, he was ready to fight. Even though he knew he was gonna lose, he still went there and tried to fight Kinzo because of what's happening. So at least, yes, he is reliable in those kind of situations. There were a few bars that could be twisted, and a few had enough space to rattle a little bit around, but they couldn't be broken with human strength. However, there was still hope if they could use some kind of lever-like tool. It was still far too early to give up yet. The children's lives were hanging in the balance. Even if there was no hope, they couldn't stop their struggle. And it was better for them to act this way. If they were to stop, there's no doubt they'd once again be overcome by the grief of losing their loved ones and curl up clutching their knees.
Kirieさんたちの方はどうかね。何か見つかったかね。
握って隠せる程度の石ころは見つかるわ。
Only stones? You can break the bars with stones.
こんなものでも武器にはなるかも。さすがに鉄格子を削り取ることは無理でしょうね。シャノンちゃんはどう？
いいえ、何も。これ、電話です。
Why is there a phone here? Couldn't they have seen this instantly? What? I mean, I guess it was dark, right? And maybe it was on the other side. But really? Really a phone in this area? Does it even have a cord that it connects to?
つながってるわけもないわ。でも、コードは何かを縛ったり、武器にも使えるかも。壊して分解すれば、金属部品を取り出せるわ。クラウス兄さん、鉄格子を開ける鍵穴はもちろんあるわよね。
ああ。だいぶ鍵穴の大きい大時代的なものだがね。針金のようなものでいじれば騙せるかもしれないな。
電話の金属部品で何か代用できるかもしれない。その電話、武器になるわね。
投資と同じだよ。情報は武器だ。
Our weapon is information. Kraus and Kirie laughed together at how they hadn't even thought of using the phone as a means of communication.
何やってんの、姉さん。
その、電話、つながってるかなって思って。
I mean, you could actually try it even once though, right?
バカだな、姉さんは。
Like just open it. Nothing will happen. And then it's working. At that point, Shannon let out a small, surprised cry.
キリエ様、この電話、つながってます。
なんですって？
It was like when people move out of an office, taking everything with them, leaving only a telephone behind. That's the feeling the phone gave off, having been left in the corner of the cell. The cord was wound into a coil, the tip of it being swallowed by the wall. And just by looking at it, there was no reason to assume that it wasn't hooked up. But to think that it actually was. Kirei took the receiver from Shannon and pressed it to her ear. Certainly, the electric hum of a phone was a familiar sound. And this phone was certainly live. But I guess this is the first time a phone is working though, right? Every single time they found a phone, it's always broken.
警察へ連絡しましょう。
待ちたまえ。話がうますぎる。盗聴されているんじゃないのかね。
そんな細工するくらいなら普通は電話線を切断するわ。電柱が本気で見落とした可能性が高い。
I mean, true though. Like, what is the point of it being bugged? Like, if they call the cops, then what?
気づかれたら今度こそ電話線を切断されるかもしれないわ。警察への通報を盗聴されて何も困ることはないのだし。
Surely that was true. The point of a wiretap is to overhear some important piece of information. But the way things were right then, she couldn't think of a single thing that would come up in a conversation to the outside world that might be troublesome to have overheard. Kirei instantly concluded that it was more likely to be a mistake on Kinzo's part than a trap.
確かに一理あります。外線は確か0番からだ。
カノン君、私は電話するからあなたは外の様子を伺ってくれる？誰かが近づいてくる気配があったら知らせて。
はい。
Kanon raced off towards the iron bar, silenced his breathing and strained his ears. As everyone present watched, Kirei dialed 110. However, she pushed the hook down and redialed many times. It didn't seem to be working very well.
外線は0番から？ 110番は0110じゃないの？うまくかからない。
貸したまえ。私がかけよう。
Krause took the receiver in Kirei's place and tested various things. So it doesn't work while calling outside, I guess. It only works maybe in this vicinity, in only the island, right? But in the end, they were unable to notify the police. The phone itself was definitely live, but the circuit was apparently cut somewhere. Yeah, you couldn't connect to farther areas, I suppose. Did this mean that they were not so naive?
やっぱり無理ですか。
So maybe you can just call the kids. Yes, maybe you can use this to call the kids.
敵も甘くはないってことね。
Problem is there even a phone near them though? Kirei let out a deep sigh, leaned against the wall, and hung her head for a while. As cool thinking as she was, for a brief moment, she may actually have had the naive hope that the phone might actually work. She sneered at herself mockingly for holding on to that naive hope for even a single moment. Then she remembered just what was happening here. Truth be told, even after being shown a scene like that right before her eyes, or rather exactly because of that, she still couldn't think of that gruesome mass murder as something real. It was less that she couldn't believe it, and more like she didn't want to. Ushirimiya Kinzo killed 6 family members. He summoned strange, witch-like demons, like people, right out of thin air. And with something like magic, began to kill people one after another. It's just all so screwed up. Even though she definitely saw it, there was no way she could accept that spectacle.
そんなことあるわけがない。あれはきっと お父様の友人か何か。それがあらかじめ食堂のどこかに隠れていて、手品的に突然姿を現して私たちを驚かせただけなんだわ。そう考えなくちゃあのめちゃくちゃを説明できない。
But even though 6 had their heads blown apart, a golden arrow had flown around and around the room. That had truly looked like magic. Was that another thing we just saw wrong? There's no way it was magic. It was definitely some kind of setup. Since those heads were smashed, there's no doubt it was some kind of explosive. Imagine how cool it would be. For example, all of the characters, let's say even the witches, the demons, all of them, for example, had a human counterpart. That would be so cool. But yeah, as they said, as Beato was always saying, 18 persons at least. Oh yeah, the maximum number of person, I guess, is 18 on this island, or humans. So we cannot get more. But just imagine if they didn't say that, like we could theorize that, oh, maybe these demons, these witches, you can have a counterpart of them, a human counterpart in what really happened. That would be nice to see. That would be cool to see. Imagine if, yeah, these witches, these demons were actually like, let's say, what was the family again? Kumadera family, right? For example, like another, yeah, a rival family. Like in that situation, they were trying to steal from the Oshinomiyas. But yeah, I mean, that is, of course, that is not true. It would just been so cool, is what I'm saying. And then they wiped each other out, and then Ava was the one who was left alone, who was left alive after that, right? Would have been cool in the end. For example, a styrene toy plane like they sell at candy stores, painted gold, and with a powerful explosive loaded onto the end of it. Like in Higurashi, right? When they told us that there are a lot of, what do you call this? The mountain dogs, the Yama Inu, is a whole group. Imagine that in this game. However, though it had seemed to be flying about at random, Kirei couldn't imagine that if they're being fired 6 times, each time had perfectly hit the victim square in the head, one after another. It couldn't be that there was some computer or computer control system for finding and hitting targets, making it a high-tech styrene plane on the same level as a guided missile, right?
そんなバカバカしい仕掛けを膨大な私費を投じて作らせたと？あのおかしな余興のために？お父様ならやりかねないって？
A number of mysterious people appeared out of thin air. 6 people had their heads demolished by a mysterious golden flying object. And the 5 of us were locked away in a mysterious dungeon by a mysterious set of pitfalls, or else put to sleep by some fainting poison dart. The family conference started a bit after 10 o'clock. It's only been a bit more than 30 minutes since then. Most likely, even though I witnessed it myself, that event took place in such a short period of time, so I still can understand it and still can come to grips with it. For argument's sakes, even if we did get a hold of the police, it would probably be impossible for anybody to accurately explain what we saw. True. Even though I saw it just now, my brain's fried and I have no confidence in what I saw myself. Kirei tried her hardest to cheer herself out of her overwhelming confusion to just hold on to her sanity.
くそ、どうなってるんだ。くそ。
Krause started to become desperate, hitting the hook multiple times and resetting the dial. Krause has also been feigning composure, but he wasn't able to hold or hide his panic. The more he tried to dial, the more the pretense of serenity peeled away. Kirei couldn't help but pray that the events that had just occurred were a dream. At that time, the look on Krause's face changed.
呼び出してる。呼び出してるぞ。
Oh, you got true.
コール音がする。
本当ですか、クラウスさん。
なるほどな。親父め、浅はかな。警察に連絡されまいと外部への電話線は切断したらしいが、内線は切断し損ねている。
内線？クラウスさんはどこにかけているの？
He most likely called the guest house.
ゲストハウスだ。
Yes.
ジェシカたちの部屋の内線番号にかけている。もしもし。
Oh, they answered.
もしもし。私だ。お前は誰か。ゴーダか。
ゴーダ。
ジェシカはいるか。無事か。
旦那様、ご無事でよかった。はい、ジェシカお嬢様たちも皆さんご無事です。
父さんなの？無事でよかった。母さんは無事なの？そこにいるの？
She's gone. Krause choked on his words. How could you even say that, right? You're gonna tell your daughter, your mother, she's gone. Krause had clearly seen Natsu's head crushed, had seen her killed right before his eyes. Eventually he was going to have to tell that to Jessica. However, Krause began to fret over whether he should tell her now or not and lost his words. But even that was an answer under these circumstances.
母さんはわからない。無事を祈ろう。今はお前だけでも無事でよかった。
分かってるよ。聞いてごめん。
Jessica's voice was filled with tears. Krause was certain now. Jessica and the rest had heard everything start to finish after meeting up with Goda and Kumasawa at the guest house. When they learned that 6 people had been killed, they must have been anxious to rush over to the dining hall. Luckily, he'd been able to call before they'd storm off towards the mansion. Krause was relieved at this good timing during such a tragedy.
ここには今、キリエさんと南條先生、それにシャノンとカノンがいる。地下牢のようなところに閉じ込められているが心配するな。こっちは父さんたちで何とかする。
地下牢？どこ？助けに行く。
あいにく私たちにもここがどこだか見当もつかん。食堂の真下だと思っているがそうでないかもしれない。とにかくジェシカはそこを出てはならん。ゴーダたちから経緯は聞いているか。
小さなみんなを慕って。
おじい様は今正常な状態にない。出くわせば危険だ。殺されるかもしれない。私たちを助けに来ようなどと絶対に思ってはならんぞ。こっちはこっちで何とかする。
じゃあ私たちはどうすればいいの？小さなめ、よくも母さんたちを。あの死に損ないぶっ殺してやる。
ジェシカ、そんな言葉を使ったら母さんが悲しむぞ。レディーはそんな言葉を使うもんじゃない。
Those aren't the words of a lady.
とにかくお前たちは身の安全を最優先にしろ。ゲストハウスを戸締まりするんだ。 しかし過信はできない。1階のラウンジの大窓は破られるかもしれない。その部屋にとどまり、ベッドを立てかけてバリケードにするんだ。その部屋にはトイレも冷蔵庫もあるな。明日の朝までは籠城できるはずだ。いいな。くれぐれも物騒なことは考えるな。母さんの仇を取ろうなんて絶対に考えるんじゃないぞ。相手を刺激せず隠れてやり過ごすことだけを考えるんだ。
分かったよ、父さん。
After that, Goda took the phone and was firmly told to supervise the kids well as an adult. Goda, with his face covered in cold sweat, repeatedly replied, yes sir, in an excessively tense voice. From there, Kyrie took the receiver and spoke with Butler, and when Shannon and Kanon got their turns, George and Jessica answered. Following that pattern, Nanjo and Kumasawa picked up as well, so that all the members of both sides took the receiver in turn, confirming that everyone was safe for now, even if their location was unknown, and encouraging each other, coming to an understanding on the current situation for both sides. They wanted to talk forever, but now wasn't the time for chat. Krause explained that they would be hanging up for now, and those in the guest house consented.
また何かあったら連絡する。すぐに受話器を取れるように待機していてくれ。くれぐれも用心してな。無茶なことは絶対にするんじゃないぞ。
父さんやカノン君たちが無事だっただけでも儲けもんってやつさ。私たちも頑張る。父さんたちもどうか無事で。
ああ、もちろんだ。それでは一度切る。用心しろ。
With that, the phone call ended. Goda and the rest of the men quickly descended to the first floor, closed the shutters, and secured the sturdy locks on the doors. However, just as Krause had worried, there was nothing that could be done about the beautiful wide open window in the first floor lounge. Yeah, because remember, last episode, they were hanging around here and it was so open, you could literally look outside. So easy if someone could shoot you from here. If someone broke that, it would be easy to get inside. It wouldn't be hard for someone like Kinzo, who hadn't hesitated at committing murder, to invade the first floor.
おじいさまたちは武装している可能性が高い。部屋に閉じこもるのが最善かつ唯一の籠城方法になるね。自ら密室に閉じこもらざるを得ないのは苦しいところだけど、相手が銃を持っていたらそれしか方法がない。
親方様は実銃のコレクションをお持ちとの話です。そう、あれは銃だ。銃だったんだ。だとしたら恐ろしい威力の銃だ。とても太刀打ちはできません。
頭を砕くなんてすげえ威力だぜ。マグナム弾とかそういう類のやつかもな。下手な扉なら平気で貫通するかもしれねえな。
だとすればますますに部屋に籠城するべきだね。ベッドを立てかけて窓も塞ごう。そこまですればいくら銃を持っていても踏み込むことはできないはず。
くそ、そんな受け身な防戦一方しかねえのかよ。ちくしょう、うちの親父に上等を決めてくれて桐江さんまで捕まえたなんて、こいつは高くつくぞ。クソじじいめ。
無理です。あんな連中に太刀打ちできるわけがありません。しかも親方様だけでなく手下も何人も。 あるいはあんな連中がもっといるかも。あいつらは一体何なんだ。
Butler was filled to the brim with the urge to get revenge for Rudolph and to rush out here to save Kirie. But just by looking at how terrified Goda was, there was no doubt in him that this would be reckless. Yes, very, very reckless.
兄貴だって悔しいだろ。なのにここで籠城なんて。くしょう。
もちろんさ、僕だって悔しいよ。両親を殺されて冷静でいられるわけがない。でもだからこそ冷静にならなくちゃいけない。
Yeah, stay very calm right now.
僕たちが無駄に命を落とすようなことを殺された親たちが望むと思うかい？思うわけがない。せめて子供だけは逃げ延びてほしいと願ってるはずだ。だから僕は生き残るよ。
I will survive.
そして警察に通報し全てを暴く。仇は法廷が取る。それが僕の復讐だ。差し違えてでも仇を取ってほしいなんて親たちが望んでいるわけもない。そうだろう。
そうだな。兄貴の言う通りだぜ。畜生クソじじいめ。何が儀式だ。俺たちがそのための生贄だって言うなら意地でも逃げ切って。
それでいいよ。それにバトラ君にはまだキリエさんがいる。僕にだってシャノンがいる。
I still have Shannon.
とにかく慎重に行動してチャンスを待とう。
It's not only Shannon, you still have everyone else left. Your cousins.
僕たちの不用意な行動は囚われの彼らに不利益を与える可能性だってあるんだから。
人質でもじいさまはきっとキリエさんたちを生贄にするために捕らえたわけだろう。俺たちが助けなきゃ殺されるのを待つだけじゃないのか。
彼らが捕らえられている地下牢がどこにあるかもわからない。シャノンもカノン君ももちろんゴーダさんも熊沢さんも知らなかった。おじいさまだけしか知らない秘密の場所にある可能性が極めて高い。そんな状況下でうろうろと歩き回るのは自殺行為だよ。
わかってるよ。それでもくそ、俺たちはここで何かが起こるまで引きこもってるしかねえってのかよ。
バトラ様のお気持ちはわかりますが、ここは安全第一で参りましょう。旦那様の話では相当古い牢屋らしいので、なんとか鉄格子を破れるかもしれないとのことでした。今は信じて待つ方が賢明です。
おじいさまの手下が何人もいてみんな武装しているんだよね。
ええ、そうです。そして多分みんな武装を。
Goda had been able to say that Kinzo had comrades with him, but he hadn't been able to mention that they were mostly young women like witches who had used strange magic to murder. If he had said that, it would only have cast doubt on his sanity. Not only that, he himself still couldn't understand what he had seen and was doubting his own sanity. But regardless of sex or appearance, regardless of whether it was done with a magic or gun, the fact that those girls had followed Kinzo's orders and killed 6 people in an instant was an unshakable truth. If that group came to attack the guest house as well, what should happen? Or what would happen? Just closing the doors and the windows like this was surely meaningless. Oh, there's you see that? A chair on the window? Okay, so let's take a break here. But yeah, very nice. I like how this game, whenever, like you see the characters for the first time, like for example, like for Goda, right? We saw him in the first episode. I was like, this guy, like I don't really like him. And then when it comes to the second episode, I kind of like him now. He's reliable, right? Like even though he lost still, he died. He was reliable. Their what do you call this? Their character growth, yeah, the growth of the characters per episode is very nice. And now Kraus, we see how reliable Kraus is, even though, yes, all of them, yeah, the adults are, when it comes to money, the adults are, yes, greedy. We know that already. But when it comes to like this, like survival and stuff, you can see how reliable Kraus is, even though he's a weak guy. He's still a leader, even in that state. Like when I'm saying weak, I mean he's not weak like physically. Like you compare him to Ava, right? Like even Kinzo, compare him to Kinzo. You see how Kinzo is whenever he's talking, whenever, like his aura is what I'm saying, right? You see that, and then you see Kraus. You see the big difference between them. But Kraus is still a leader, even though he's not like his father. He's still reliable. And I like that character progression that we're having with each of them as we go through these episodes. Like in one episode you could say like, oh, this guy's kinda like he's very arrogant, etc. And then when you go to the other episodes, like, oh, he's actually reliable when it comes to this situation. So that's pretty good, right? So anyways, we are gonna continue this and do more of Umineko When They Cry episode 4 in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.